This is a Buick from 1937, probably another straight eight. Now let's have a closer look at this MG TD. Another favourite of mine has to be this post-war Daimler. Today on Car Traction, you join us at Eccleshall Show, which is mainly an agricultural show, but in this video we're going to be looking at the classic car section. It's a bit further away from our usual stomping ground. We pootled down very sedately in the little standard. It's 803cc four-cylinder lump, just about propelling us up this very hilly area, it is worth noticing. But as we are a bit further away, we should be seeing some fantastic new classic cars that haven't featured before, such as this great old Saab 95. This is a V4 car, the estate being the 95, column shift, extremely rare variant. I think these are just great, aren't they? Brilliant oddball car, I absolutely love those, especially the estate, a real practical classic. Beyond that, another car from a similar era, Mark 1 Escort. This is a 1300L car, purchased by the original owner for $1,529 in 1975. And it doesn't look like much has changed since. I wouldn't be surprised if this is all original. It's certainly all original inside, but it looks pretty original and very tasty indeed on and the out as well. That is very nice. Here is a Cortina, but it's a pickup, so it probably shouldn't be called a Cortina, actually a P100 pickup, 1984, based on a Mark IV or Mark V Cortina. This is originally a South African pickup, which is where a lot of these little commercials went. What a beauty, it's in immaculate condition, that one as well. Here's a little Mark III Mini, 850. Base spec model, looking fantastic in orange. Looks really nice and original as well. Beyond that, a Mark II Cortina on Ross styles in light blue, looking very jolly. I like the matching light blue interior as well, looks very nice. There's my reflection. Ross styles, of course, a period mod, usually seen on the likes of later MGBs, but it does look good in this Mark II Cortina. Here's a Granada. With some very jazzy seat covers in there. Manual car as well. Would have thought most of these would have been auto. I know this is a manual Granada, so perhaps a little bit rarer. And a great little pairing of classic Fords. Bit of fast forward goodness, an XR3i saloon here. Beyond the blue Triumph Stag, looking very nice. A pair of MGTFs, the last of the T-Series MGs, 50s sports cars. This is a 54 car, this one, with the 1250 four-cylinder. Here's another regular MGB we see very often, 1979, so it has had the chrome bumper conversion. Here's the B-Series lump, matched up to the twin SUs. That made its way into all sorts of BMC cars, but tuned up to make up around about 100 brake horsepower for the little MGB sporty car, in beautiful condition under there, really shiny and very nice. This is a Ford Mustang SVT Cobra, I believe those are called. The very powerful looking engine V8 under there. More V8 goodness here, an F250 Ranger, Ford pickup. A huge Cadillac. Haven't seen this one in a while. This one used to go to the Crew Heritage. Haven't seen it for a while. Always amazing, these huge rims you see on this. Always great to see some modified cars and some unmodified cars. The variety here is brilliant. Here is a Series 2 Jaguar. It's a manual overdrive car, so a 4-speed overdrive in this one. I believe this most likely a 4.2 6-cylinder in this one. But a manual is actually quite a rare variant. Now this is interesting, I'm not exactly sure. You're a car enthusiast, well if you are, do you know what car this is? I want to say Cadillac, because I believe that is the Cadillac badge, but I'm not sure the actual model itself. So if anyone watching knows and is going to accept that challenge, then let me know in the comments, because I know it's a Cadillac. But what sort of Cadillac is that? It's a big Y-Reg 90s saloon. Very interesting. Little Austin Healey Sprite here. There's a square arch. Moggy Minor Traveller, a pairing of Moggy Minor Travellers. This one is looking rather low, with some modified wheels as well, very sharp in black. Here's the MG Club. We've got an MGB GT here, 76, still using the B Series 4-cylinder engine. One of the much later cars with the American spec bumpers. Not very popular in period. Here's an MG, a modern car. I think we'll gloss over that. Let's have a look at this GT on painted wires, looking very sharp. Quite an early MG here. The TD steel wheels and the sprung steering wheel, which looks very good indeed. A few more modern T-Series cars and a TF just over there. Here's the Staffordshire Morgan stand. It's very hard to date these cars. They're often actually much newer than you think. See, that one is 2013. This one is probably 90s. I don't know too much about Morgans. MX-5 Club. Mark 2.5, I think that is, in a very nice purple. And there's the ND, the Mark 4, most recent, the NC, Mark 3, a pairing of those. Will there be any Mark 1s here? Another Mark 2, a trio of Mark 3s. And oh yes, we've got an NA Mark 1 here, pop-up headlamps, everyone's favourite. Unfortunately not yellow and a California, but still great to see nonetheless. Looks a little bit modified, sporty steering wheel, sporty wheels. Interesting little wings on the bonnet there, never seen that. Accompanied by a couple of horses, or are they ponies? I don't know. I'm not an agricultural expert, unlike many people that will be attending the Eccleshall Show here today. More MG goodness here. An MGB GT and a Roadster Sandwich. That's also a nice early car. You can see the sprung steering wheel with the nice MG emblem in the middle. This one's had a very cool sunroof modification at some point as well. And here, a bit of a gate crasher. There's a Triumph Dolomite Sprint. I love these. A very desirable car now. I believe these made something silly like 125 brake horsepower. Something like that, which is a lot. It really is. These go very well. And I think they're actually a really good looking car. All of the Triumphs of this era were Michelotti styled, so that's why you had the cut-off tails with the likes of the Dolomite, the Toledo, the Spitfires, TR6, all sorts of variants. They had that cut-off tail, which I believe was designed by Michelotti or Michelotti. And a very handsome car, I think, the Dolomite, and especially the Sprint. Just makes it that little bit sportier and more desirable. Here's another sort of slightly sporty saloon that I quite like, an MG Magnet here. I believe these make about 60 brake horsepower at a guess. Lovely interior in these, really like them. And I think it's a brilliant looking car as well. Very handsome. Do like those. Very similar to the likes of the Wolseleys. But the MG, always the slightly sportier variant. These had a twin carb engine, as the Wolseleys were usually single carb unless modified. So the MGs were always slightly sportier, even going up to the 816 cars, like the Austin and Morris 816, 1100, 1300. The MG always has that stereotypical sort of style of grille on any classic British car, and a twin carb, slightly sporty engine. This is one of the earliest MG slightly sporty cars, a Magnet. Great find there. You can tell I like those, can't you? Interesting little bumper light thing. There's a nice original, perhaps Ace number plate under there as well. You can tell I like that, can't you? Let's move on to something else. If you get a little bored, another MGB. Many classic British MGs here. Another Midget 1500, another regular. Is this Hillman Imp with matching trailer. Another Ford Cortina pickup. This is based on a Mark III with a 2.5 engine in it. I believe this one might have South African connections as well, but don't quote me on it. Interesting spot. A Triumph Stag in yellow, the best colour for all cars. And a Citroën Traction Avant. Really like the look of these. This is a French built car being left-hand drive. These were built in Slough by Citroën as well, sort of just post-war I believe. A really interesting car, traction avant, obviously front wheel drive, so really sort of technologically, that's a big word, advanced for the time, and that looks really handsome in the maroon and black with the wings. Lovely, lovely old car there. Next to that is an MX-5 Mark 1 here, another NA. This is another little special edition car, looking very shiny. And here's a little Triumph TR4, really like these. Predecessor to the Triumph TR5, predictably, which had the 2.5 litre straight six. But these ones just a little 4-cylinder, which is still a very nice little engine. Beautiful old console as well, with all the period mods. An Austin Healey Frog Eye Sprite. A fantastic little Thames van, 100E based. I saw this one recently, but I wasn't able to have a look at it due to music at the When Vehicles of Interest, and now we can get a close-up look at it. The 100E sort of Anglias and Prefects were very common cars, but the little commercials like the Escort Estate and the Thames van, this is a 700 weight van, are a much rarer breed. Very lovely little find there. These with the little side valve 4-cylinder engine as well. Great little practical commercial. Huge old Pontiac convertible, the Hillman Imp. I'm liking the matte black bonnet, or boot actually I should call it that, these being rear engined of course, with I believe an engine that was developed from old fire sort of extinguishers or something like that. I was talking to the owner of one of these and he said something like that. I'm very sorry, I can't quite remember, but I believe the engines out of these were first used in like fire extinguisher pumps or something like that. This is a Super Imp as well, so a sort of more upmarket model. You did have the Singer Chamois and the Sunbeam Stiletto, but this is just a normal Imp. Full Capri once again in the best colour. I'm going to cheat a little bit, cut rows and have a look at this. Now this is an absolutely gorgeous old Cadillac. This is a Cadillac LaSalle from pre-war. What a stunning car this is. I love some of the pre-war American cars. Column shift. How clean is it in there? Wow. I don't know what engine this has. It could even be something like a straight 8. A lot of these would have had a flathead 6-cylinder. But that's got a really long bonnet on it, so it might be like a V8 or straight 8. There's a handy badge here. This is from 1940, this car actually. So in the war years. Some of these were actually V16s, some of the pre-war American cars. I don't know about this one. What a great sort of spaceship design. This car would have originally been from Ohio. So obviously left-hand drive, rear hinge doors there as well. Just what a stunning, stunning quality car that is. Really love the look of that, and I'm sure it drives as well as it looks. Saab 900i here in white. A wacky time period and even wackier now. Love the shape of those. Beyond that, an MGT series, many of those. And a police Ford Crown Intercept, I believe those are called. You see quite a few of those on the show scenes. Series 2 E-Type here, so still using the 4.2 straight 6 in these before they went to the huge V12 for the Series 3. And here is a brilliant old standard Vanguard. I believe this is a Phase 1 car. This is the third one I've seen on the show scene. There are 2 silver ones near us, and I've never seen a black one. This one's got the nice early spats on it. Lovely interior, column shift of course. What a great car that is. Really love the look of those, the beetle back shape, and then when it went to the likes of the Phase 3 and later cars they lost that shape. I mean, they're still lovely cars, but the Series 1 beetle back has to be my favourite. Love the look of that. And here's another bit of 100E goodness. You can see the saloon. This is a Prefect. Here's the saloon variant, 107E, 1959 to 61. These had about a 1 litre. That's interesting. It says it's got a 1 litre overhead valve engine in this one. Many of these would have been side valve. It's even in the Side Valve Owners Club. That's an interesting variant. Makes 39 brake horsepower, which is actually a pretty good amount. Nice and simple to own. No column shift, which can get slightly sloppy over years. Easy 4 on the floor gearbox. I do prefer proper gear shifters. And a very jazzy little car there. Another Moggy Mine 1000. I'm sure there'll be plenty of those here, with some classic car goodies for sale. Sporty looking Escort with an equally sporty looking engine under there. Now this is an interesting car. This is a Vauxhall Victor FB here. Rare variant from 1963. Once again, a real spaceship looking car. You can see the American influence written all over sort of 50s and 60s Vauxhalls. This is sort of 60s, where it started going to sort of lower slung cars and fins, and then there was all big chrome and curves in the 50s. And here's another great little bit of 60s design, an Austin A40 Farina. You don't see many of these that are Mark 1s actually, a little bit better than ours, you could say, but this was the first BMC or Austin car that received the Farina design, the straight fins, and then after this pioneering design they spread into all sorts of the Austin Cambridges and other BMC cars, and the Wolseleys of course, but the A40 was, I believe, where it started all the Farina design, which then spread all throughout the British motor industry in the 60s. Series 1 having a different front, the sort of chrome surrounds and the headlamps are slightly larger on the Series 1s or Mark 1s, I don't know what to call them. Great little club for them as well, Dad's in it. And a brilliant first classic car, this one's in great condition. And the same can be said for this Triumph Spitfire we saw earlier. And a Morris Minor, this is a Morris Cowley, sorry, I meant to say Morris Oxford, but no, a Morris Cowley. 1954, half-ton chassis cab, that would have been a later conversion. Column shift in these. That's a cool old thing, isn't it? And another Austin A35, I'm sure we'll be seeing plenty of these here today. This one looks quite good on those little Ross styles there. As a truck pulls in, we'll have a look at some of the trucks later, but there are plenty here. Another favourite of mine has to be this post-war Daimler. You can identify a Daimler by the sort of flutes, I think they're called, on the grille. I like those two little intakes on the top of the bonnet there. That makes it look quite sporty. What a great shape of car that is. Really sort of artistic front, swooping into a curvy back. Really love the look of that actually. It's not dissimilar to the likes of the Alvis sort of Silver Eagle cars, but this is a Daimler, so a different mark. With the slightly sporty variant. Being a Daimler, this will have a pre-selector box in it. Probably about 3-speed, I think so, yeah, 3-speed. Similar to Lanchester's. Lovely interior in there. Bit of a complicated setup with a little press button clutch. But a lovely, lovely car. Another Moggy Minor, this is a Series 2 car these are called. With the Moggy Minor-ish front, 1000 front. But a split window here. Not an MM, which are the earlier cars. These have the central speedometer, like the 1000s. In great sort of patinated condition. I love the look of that. Next to that is a Mark II Ford Escort in white. Absolutely immaculate. This is a Gia car, 1.6. Another MGB looking very sleek in light blue. Seeing so many of those here today. A Capri 280, V6 powered. The Ford Essex V6, I believe. This is actually a Brooklands car, which is even rarer. Didn't make many of those. 1038. A little glance at the information sheet, so a very rare car indeed there. Triumph TR6 here, in my favourite sort of Triumph 70s purple. Really pops in this. You see all sorts of GT6s and such like similar cars of Triumph 70s motoring. In that colour, really nice colour. You can see the cut-off tail at the back as well I was talking about with the Toledo, which also had a similar setup. Here's a great old Jarrett Bradford van. I've seen that one a couple of times before. And a Ford Capri, a GXL. And here is a brilliant car. This is a Corvette from 1959, real spaceship design once again. And this car sounds very nice, very lovely sounding V8. Matched up to a 4-speed manual. Really stylish interior and a really stylish front and back on the outside body. What a beauty that is. A little bit of information here. 1959 Chevrolet Corvette. Pause the video if you want to have a little read of that. 290 brake horsepower this makes, which is a lot for the period. 0 to 60 in 7.7 seconds, which is very, very brisk. A top speed of 128 miles per hour. It's a real spaceship car with the performance to back up the looks there. And here's a Renault 21. Seen this car a couple of times before. I believe it might only be like a one owner car, or certainly a one family owner car. Really original. A great time warp. I love the look of that Cadillac. Here is some more BMC goodness. You can see the Farina design I was talking about with the A40 Farina, spreading into the larger saloons of like the Austin Cambridge. As I said before, all curvy in the 50s, but by the 60s it was all straight lines and fins like in America. Some interesting wing mirrors on this car. I'm sure they're not original, are they? Hold on, he's got wing mirrors and door mirrors on there. That's interesting. He clearly wants to see what's going on behind him. I feel like those might have been added on, but also these might have been, I don't know. It's also got a modified steering wheel. I don't know, that's an interesting little quirk. Why do you have two sets of rear mirrors? Door mirrors and wing mirrors. It's a strange thing. A modified looking Vauxhall. I believe that's a Cavalier. A P6 Rover 2000. Single carb 2-litre engine. Another XR3i. There's a lovely little Singer Roadster. This is a 4AD from 1952. Gorgeous little car, isn't it? Similar, just post-war style in this Riley RM. You can see the similarities from the sports cars into the sort of saloon cars. On this row is a very nice little Clan. That's the third one of those I've ever seen. First one that isn't in yellow. And a Saab 96 here, the saloon. This is a 96L. And what is this? Another stunning old pre-war American car. This is a Buick from 1937, probably another straight eight, or perhaps flathead six-cylinder. What an absolutely beautiful car that is. Certainly is a Buick. Also bits of stunning chrome. The streamlined front, it actually says Buick 8, so that might have a straight 8 engine in it perhaps, which is a very nice unit. You can see where the tyre would be, the spare tyre, all nicely streamlined in. What a beautiful, beautiful old pre-war car, and this is a really quiet, nice running engine. I like the little boot light as well. They'll light up and say Buick when the driver desires to slow down his vehicle, and his very stylish vehicle. Just look at that interior. It's a manual, probably a 3-speed I'd imagine. What an absolutely beautiful car that is. You can see these little sticks there. They're used to aid parking, to make sure you don't dent your beautiful wings or very shiny bumper. I just love all the sort of streamlining. There's another spare wheel on this side. Just look at these sort of wing lights. How streamlined are they? What a sort of beautifully designed car that is. Really love that. That is a really beautiful, beautiful car. Stunning old Bentley here. Have a little peek at the interior of this one. Real quality car. Looking very nice in the sort of two-tone blue. I believe that'll be a pre-selected gearbox in this as well. Real quality car there. Love the look of that. Sort of early 50s I want to say that is. And here is a great little pairing of Bond mini cars. I actually haven't seen any hardtop ones of these. I've seen a convertible one, but I've never seen a hardtop one. Let's have a little look at the back. I like these little fins in the back, they're quite stylish. Let's have a look at the interior. There's a column change gearbox, probably 3-speed. I believe these had a little 2-stroke engine in them, sort of 100cc, I don't know. But very interesting to see. That's the white one. Let's have a look at the little blue one. I think these are brilliant little cars, and I've never seen a hardtop one. And then lo and behold, two turn up at the same time, which is very interesting. Great little find there. Bit of an American section here, some great Cobra replicas. Not exactly sure what that is, but I can tell you that these are all Cobras. Now what is this? I feel like I should know what this is because Dad has talked to me about these. It's on Wolf Race style wheels. Well, I'll put you all out of your misery. I've now, after a little consultation with Dad, this is actually a Nova kit car. As you saw the front before, would lift up. Dad said he had a ride in these a while ago, and it's pretty crazy having the roof up, which I'm sure it was. A very interesting car. I might have bought something as well. Dad's also bought something, but I'll show you later in the video. And I love the look of this. A great old pre-war Citroen. This is a 1224 from 1927. Love the solid wheels of this. Really nice little car. Two-seater roadster with a dicky seat at the back. Being right-hand drive, this is a UK market car built at Slough. So even in the 20s, Citroen was at Slough. What a beautiful little car. A friend of ours has a tiny little Tourer, but this is quite a bit larger. That's a lovely little car, isn't it? Really like the look of that. Conventional pedal layout, which is interesting actually. No central throttle on this. I'm sure it's still quite a challenging car to drive. That is beautiful, isn't it? A 1500cc side valve and a 3-speed gearbox, known as a crash box. No synchromesh, so a bit of double declutching and rev matching on the way down. Once again, I like these little wing lights there. Really nice shape. And then you got the Marshall lights mounted onto the wings there, which looks very nice, tilted in. And then a lovely chrome radiator. Boyce motometer there, hopefully you can see that. That is a stunning little car. Absolutely immaculate Maestro. These are many different engines, some of them were diesel. And I feel like some of them would have been injected, but we can just see the top of a distinctive SU carburettor, so this would be a pre-injection car. It's for sale as well. I can tell you right here, it is absolutely immaculate. A transverse engine, many cars of this era were transverse by now. Incredible condition as well. Another brilliant old Saab here. This is a really early car with this style of grille at the front. Some of these would have been two-stroke. This one might be a two-stroke car, which sound very interesting, I think you can say. This is another 96 Saab from 1964, so very early. Still column change, lovely interior. It is a two-stroke car. 3rd of December 63 it first came off the production line. And then it was sold here in Britain in 64. But I really love the look of these earlier cars actually. Real spaceship design. And while it will be a bit smoky, a bit of blue smoke being a two-stroke, they do sound very interesting. You see a lot of those getting rallied in the likes of Sweden, but here they're more of a sort of live a more sedate life. Triumph Stag, loads of those here. An MGB. And the lovely Jaguar Mark II. This is the sort of Ecuria Cos blue. Really beautiful, beautiful car. This is an automatic gearbox in this car. Going around the back, this is a 3.4, the 340. Many people say that the 3.4s actually drive better than the likes of the 3.8. And there's only about a 10 brake horsepower difference between the two engines. The 3.8 always being the most desirable. And then manual overdrive is always more desirable, so automatic more affordable. But the 3.4 is meant to be very, very good indeed. And that is a beautiful looking car. Looks like a 3.8. I like that little disc brakes sign on the back there. And here is a lovely old Austin 16, I believe. Very larger variant. Manual gearbox. Handy bit of information. It is a 16 from 1948. The 16 for the 16 horsepower, not brake horsepower. Horsepower. So this will have a 6-cylinder engine in it, I'm pretty sure. Once again, a very streamlined front, similar to the likes of the Austin sheer line of the period, but I believe this is a bit earlier. Just pre-war motoring. A lot of these get used for wedding, and they don't really look great in white, I'm afraid to say, but in this blue and black two-tone, looks very, very stylish. A large car as well, so it would need a big engine like a 6-cylinder. The 16 I think is the largest. They might have done a 20 in the pre-war, but I don't know about post-war. I think the 16 might just be the largest. Love the look of that. More modern MG. And a great little Morris 8 Series 1 Tourer. Seen this car a few times before. There's a very large old Morris there, perhaps like a Morris 16 or 20. Let's have a look at that later. And here's the lovely old Series 1 Morris 8 Tourer. Quite similar to the likes of our Morris Minor Tourer we used to have, but the 8 being a bit larger. Very advanced car for the time, with hydraulic brakes. And a lovely, lovely, great example of a bit of pre-war convertible motoring. Here's probably another favourite of mine, not a normal Lancia Fulvia, but a Zagato bodied Lancia Fulvia. So it's a Fulvia saloon underneath, but the Zagato body, still a V4 front wheel drive up front. This is a Fulvia Sport, these known as. They probably look a bit better debumpered, but this car is unmodified in a lovely orange. I really like the look of this. I think they're a very stylish little car. Lovely interior, very elegant in there. They can sound really good with a nice pair of twin Webers, great intake sound, and a great exhaust note as well. MGB GT, quite a late car here. Another Moggy Minor Traveller, seeing our fair share of those here today. Another brilliant practical classic. And a little Triumph 2000, this is a Mark 1 with the curvier front you don't see very often. A 2 litre straight 6, suggested by the name. It's a 4-speed manual gearbox. Some of these would have been overdrive, but not this one. This car makes 90 brake horsepower. Oh, apologies, this car actually is overdrive. It's just that some of the cars will have had overdrive on the top of the gear lever, and some of them have overdrive somewhere else. So this is an early car, so it might have overdrive someone else, being a Mark 1 from 1965. Good registration as well, day. Lovely car. 90 brake horsepower really isn't that bad, and with a sort of mildly fruity exhaust they can sound very nice. You do see a few of them getting rallied, but looks like this one lives a bit more of a sedate life, you could say. Once again with the cut-off tail at the back, Michelotti designed. Here's a Sunbeam Talbot Tourer. See this one pretty much everywhere we go. Another Austin Cambridge here on steel wheels. That looks quite good actually. Remember seeing one of these on TR6 wheels a while ago, which looked quite good. But I haven't seen one on these steel wheels. Bit of a two-tone livery going on here. The large Farina fins at the back. I should call them that, shouldn't I? Farina fins. Here's a 3.8 Jaguar. Very classy. This is a manual overdrive car as well, so pretty much the most desirable. Perhaps people would want it in a different colour. It's for sale. I like the spats on this one. Coombs in their style. Coombs, the period Jaguar tuning company. Here's a Ford Granada Scorpio, I think these are. Quite a late variant. Executive saloon, automatic. Probably 3 or 4 speed. Another Dolomite here. This is not a Sprint like the one we saw earlier. Perhaps just like an 1850. They did these in 1500 as well. But still a good looking car, I think. And maybe if you were to get the Sprint wheels, it would look just like a Sprint. Another MGB. And here's an interesting thing. This is a Vanden Plas. Now, is this a 4 litre R, or some of these might have been 3 litre? I think we have to look at the back. This is a 4 litre R. Very classic car, automatic, but with a column shift selector. And a great sounding car. And quite a handsome looking car as well. You can see this is based on the likes of the BMC saloons of the period, but the Vanden Plas being a bit posher, with the larger grille, and it'll be a bit nicer inside. Very cool looking car there. Lovely old Bristol here. Big old 6-cylinder again, probably. Executive saloon. Auto gearbox, 3-speed. Pretty sure these have a 6-cylinder. We'll find out. This is a 410. Oh, it's got a 5.2 litre V8. Wow, from 1969, 250 brake horsepower. That's quite an engine in there. I think Dad's quite fond of these. Huge bonnet, isn't it, actually? I guess you'd need one to accommodate a 5.2 litre V8 engine. Very sort of luxurious inside, similar to the likes of the Jensens of the period as well. What an incredible car that is. I don't know if they were all V8s. There's a photo of an earlier Bristol in front of an aeroplane there. Only made 80 of them apparently, top speed 130 miles per hour. Wow, that's quite a sort of sleeper car, and I don't think I've ever seen one before. Only made 80 apparently, and I think most of these would have been a 6-cylinder, but that is a special car. That I like that. Similar to here, these also had the Ford V6 engine, the Essex engine. But they're mounted very far back in the engine bay for weight distribution. Whenever you see one of these with the bonnet up, you see it is very far back in the GT body of these. Great sounding engine as well. Most of these seem to be on Wolf Race wheels or that sort of style. and a very sharp looking car, I think. Now what is this? A very early Alvis Tourer in this polished metal here. This is a 1250, I believe. These ones pre-war. Nice little boat tail, I want to call it, design at the back. What a lovely, lovely old car that is. Now this is a central throttle car, as were most pre-war cars of this era. This is probably 20s, I want to say late 20s. The Alvis mascot of the rabbit there. Very handsome car that, I like that. It's a lot earlier than most of the 1250s you see. Very early style of wheels as well. Here's a Rover P3, I want to say. This is a 75. Just post-war motoring once again. Like the likes of the Litre RM. Probably prefer these to an RM. They're both very nice cars in their own right. I believe these have a 4-speed, might be a 3-speed. We've got a tax disc for 1949 in this one, so I presume that's the year of this car's manufacture. It looks very classy in blue. A pair of Rover P4s. This is a 105S. This first car, so a 6-cylinder engine in this, like 2.7 litres or something like that. I don't quite know. And that one is a 95, so I believe that'll be a 4-cylinder engine in that one over there. I think anything over 100 is a 6-cylinder, and anything under a 4. Handsome cars. Moggy Mine 1000 Cabriolet, first one of those we've seen here today. A TVR. Here's an MG-TD. We saw TFs earlier, but this is the TD, the last of the T-Series cars with the separate headlamps. And those are the sort of wheels you see on some very early MGBs. Lotus Esprit, these are powered by V8 in the middle of the car. Here's that beautiful old Buick pre-war. Love the look of that. Real quality car there. Another Hillman Imp. Haven't seen any Sunbeams or Singers yet, but we can hope, can't we? An MGA, a Rover V8. This is a Vitesse, so actually the sporty variant. You can see a very low exhaust, stainless, coming out of the back there. This is actually another bit of a sort of sleeper car, the Vitesse. Slightly tuned up than the normal Rover V8. These are the 3.5 litre engine. I believe this car might be a manual gearbox as well, actually, which is very rare. I like that little intake there. Let's have a look inside. Yes, a 5-speed manual. Handy sunroof being open so we can get a quick peek at the interior. That's a very rare car, and that will go quite well. Very powerful V8. The Vitesse usually has some decals down the side, but not in this one in black. Even more of a sleeper. I like that little spoiler at the back. And that'll be a very quick car. Real sort of 80s interior. And here's a Morris Marina van, I think. Another 700 weight commercial here. I think it's a Marina. Let's have a look around the front. There you go. Not sure if that's actually called the Morris Marina. It's probably just a Morris 700 weight. And here is a Morris 10. I was wrong earlier with saying it was a 16 or 20. It's not quite that big. This is a 10. So this might still have a side valve 4-cylinder. I believe like the 20 is a lot larger and it has a 6-cylinder. But this one might still be a 4. Lovely inside with the side screens. We can still get a little peek through though. Probably another 3-speed manual gearbox with all the pedals and gears in the wrong places. Lovely car there. Very rare as well. You don't see many of the 10s. You see plenty of Morris 8s, but not the 10s. Slightly larger and even fewer of these 6-cylinder powered 20s. It's a real gem. Another Rover V8 here. I believe this is just a standard one. This is also a 5-speed as well, isn't it? 5-speed manual as opposed to probably a 3-speed auto. Bit of a modified Capri. Another Riley RM Saloon. Very graceful Series 1 Land Rover with the flat doors. An interesting little trials car. I can't remember what these are called. This is a Patrial Sporting Trials car. This is interesting. So I believe you can like decide to brake either wheel at the back for trialling. They're obviously purpose built. Very light. 3-speed and reverse only needs that because it's doing very low speed sort of things. This will be very low geared. A lovely little Lotus Elan Coupe. I love every time I see this car. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? Really love the look of the hardtop ones. Brilliant, brilliant little car there. A Fiat 600, also love seeing this car absolutely everywhere. Vauxhall Chevette rally car here. Bit of a wide body going on with this one. Obviously rally prepped, still a manual gearbox. So that'll sound quite tasty, I reckon. A couple of XKs here, 4 litre V8s in these. More modern Nissan Estate, P6. This is a 2.2 litre car. Here's an American sort of dirt racing car. It's got a 2 litre Pinto engine in it. Very common engine in these. With very little silencing, I'd imagine. And here is a Moggy Minor Traveller. Another Morris 8 Series 1 Tourer. Don't see many of those. Another Rover P4. It's another 6-cylinder car. Morgan 3-wheeler. Here's a Triumph TR8 with a 4.6 V8 in it. Mercedes looking very smart. Gilburn, one of the slightly later cars. And it's cool, isn't it? Gilburn Invader, these are known as. Golf GTI, Audi TT, a few modern classics here. Porsche, a bit more classic now, an MGA. Seeing plenty of those, many MGBs here. This one has the Rover V8 in it, the 3.5 litre. Great conversion in these. Looking very sharp. I love the rims they got on the V8 cars as well, very smart. And here's quite an interesting car. This is a Vauxhall Forenza, but it's got a V8 in it. How crazy is this? It's a Rover V8. I presume it says 3.5 litre. He's made from 72 to 73. The Coke bottle shaped rear window. And a great looking car. Really sort of sums up 70s style. I remember seeing a rally one of these recently, actually a couple of years ago, at the Western Park Historic Rally Festival, which also had a swap V8. Sounded absolutely fantastic. Take a little listen to that one. And I'm sure this one would sound almost just as good, perhaps not quite as crazy as that one, but still quite crazy. I like the wheels as well, and the really good looking car, I think, the Forenzas. Another car I also very much like is this Herald. This is a 1360 car, so later than the 1250s, but still very similar running gear, pretty much just a design update at the front. I always say this, but the whole bonnet lifts up on Triumphs of this era, which means you can sit on the front tyre while working on the engine, which is very handy. Modified Thames van here. This originally would have been a 500 weight van, but looks like it's had maybe a swapped engine in there. I'm sure that'll sound quite tasty. Little peek at the interior, very cool in there, isn't it? I like the look of that, actually. Not much Thames original running gear going on in there, I'd imagine. Ford Capri here. This is a 4-cylinder car. I like the little spoiler and the little boot spoiler on the back of this one as well. Very cool period mod. Great condition as well, this one. Really pops in red. Just beyond that is another XR3i, I believe. Oh, this is an RS Turbo actually, sorry. I'm not too good on these sort of 90s things, so apologies, but turbo there. Another immaculate Capri, seen this car a few times before. An MGA in white. A couple of late MGT series cars. These are mid-engined or rear-engine. Not quite sure which one it counts as. Bit older midget here, round arch, 1972. He's had a 1275cc engine in them. Is it A series? I think it's an A series engine in those. Correct me if I'm wrong. T series. Another MGB on painted wires. They always look good on those. Have I found myself in a bit of an MG section? There's an RV8 here. A rubber bumper roadster. They're always a good showing of these. And on the end is a Nissan Figaro micro-based 3-speed auto. This one actually says it's turbo, so that might be a diesel engine actually. But a very characterful little car. Very retro. Now this is very nice. Bit of me. A Volvo P1800. Very stylish car. Not the sort of cow horn bumpers at the front, I believe they're called. Slightly later than the earliest of cars. I love the chrome strip that flicks up for the door handle. Goes off into the fin at the back. Really, really stylish car. I think that is absolutely beautiful condition. Really love the look of these. Great looking sporty car there. Another Rover P4, another 6-cylinder car. Seen plenty of those. A little Morris Minor van with LED lights. Jaguar X300, I believe those are called. And here's a bit of me, a Wolseley 1500. A Mark III here from 1963. This is the family variant. They did plenty of different little variants of these. I absolutely love these. And the Riley 1.5, the sporty variant, as I said earlier. The Riley, the twin carb engines are there. And the Wolseley, just the single carb. Wolseley, a bit more posher and sedate. But the Riley always a little bit more sportier. But I mean, it's all relative, isn't it? This is still a car from the 60s. Here's quite a tasty looking MGA. Some nice rims on there as well. I like the look of that. Debumpered, painted reg or sort of vinyl sticker reg. Perhaps a modern gearbox. It's a 5-speed under there. So that might have sort of been a bit changed underneath. Very sporty. Great looking car. A Triumph 2000 here. This is another Mark 1 actually. With the curved front. Roof race wheels. Have a look at the back to see which engine is in this car. I'm thinking it might be a 2.5 PI. Sure is. It's the largest engine, 2500cc. Great sound as well, I'd imagine. And also a modern swapped gearbox, 5-speed. I like that steering wheel actually. I think that's quite a nice sporty design. I'm sure that probably actually goes quite well. Another great little Thames van, 500 weight. This one's unmodified, not unlike the one we saw before, which was rather modified. Cool looking little things. Those based on the 103E and 107E, I think. Anglia Prefects. And a great little commercial, I think. There's a very nice little looking car. Wait, no, a very nice looking little car. There we go. Always good to see a few commercials. Here's another NA Mark 1 MX-5. This has got the different style of rims we haven't seen yet today. These came as a 1.6 and a 1.8 twin cam 4-cylinder. Great sound and really fun little car. And here is a very interesting car, Fiat Panda Fantasia, or Fantasia, don't know how to pronounce it. One thing I always note with this car is 2 sunroofs, which is very interesting. Only 11 of these little special edition cars made. And I really like these little Fiat Pandas, great looking little car. Only 11 left in existence, and one of only 2 on the road. I presume that's in the UK, so a very rare car. Great condition as well. What a sort of characterful little box this is. Bright green, absolutely brilliant, isn't it? What a great old thing that is. Here's an interesting little gem, not sure exactly what it is. It's an Austin Victoria, built in Spain from 72 to 74. It's based on a BMC 1300, the 8016 car, with a different rear front and rear end designed by Michelotti. So you can see once again the cut-off tail, Michelotti Triumph design. This is interesting, isn't it? So it's all BMC 1100, 1300 under there. But at the front, it's also modified, slightly sort of similar to the likes of a Dolomite perhaps at the front, which was also Michelotti designed. You can see the original Spanish registration on the front there, left-hand drive of course. It's an interesting little gem, I like the look of that. Plenty vintage trucks here. We'll have a little quick walk around. I believe that's a Leyland Beaver, I think those are called, with that very nicely styled front. 50s truck. Quite a funny looking Austin FE. This is from 1959. It's a really strange looking thing, that. An AEC Mercury with the absolutely massive windscreen in these. I'm sure it's great for visibility, and something that I've got no idea what it is. Great little Dennis here, next to an interesting old Leyland. This is a bit of a strange looking thing. Leyland prototype from 1953. A 5.76 litre engine making 91 brake horsepower. That's a big size for not a lot of brake horsepower, but what an interesting looking thing that is. Never seen anything like that. That's very sort of interesting. There's a Sims lamps on the front. I'm going to have to keep talking because I think there's some Hollies playing behind me. There's an Alice Chalmers tractor here. And perhaps an International, this one. Yeah, it is. You can always see the Internationals by the squared off front. Makes me sound like an anorak, I know, doesn't it? But I try to do my best to know what to say about these ones. That's quite a cool looking one, isn't it? Orange. A few horsey demonstrations going on over there, but unfortunately I don't know much about horses, so let's turn to something a little bit more my style, horse powers. Some great old trucks here. Let's have a look around the front of this one. This is a Scammell. That's a spectacular looking one, isn't it? There's a Leyland just beyond that. The line painting Bedford TK. That's an interesting one. Another ERF. We see this sort of things at the likes of the Midway truck stop meet, which I made quite a few videos over the years. I'd always get a good turnout there. Also the Cheshire Run for a bit further down in the country today. A couple of ERFs looking very shiny. And a Ford, I believe these are the D series. V8 diesel, I want to say. And a great old ERF, that's nicely sort of patinated. Very nicely mellowed paint, how they would have been in period. Great to see them in original condition. Love the look of that.
About to go, get ready.
Now let's have a closer look at this MG TD in a two-tone yellow and bright green. I think it's pretty safe to say I've never seen one like this before. It's also on white walls. What a crazy old car that is. In a way I quite like it actually, which is probably a bit of a sort of guilty pleasure. Interestingly, it has an American flag on it, so perhaps a left-hand drive car. I think I can see the bump of the steering wheel there as a helicopter flies overhead. That's incredible. I love seeing these some really oddball, really strangely modified cars. That is just brilliant, isn't it? I love the look of this E-Type. It's from 67 and it's been done up in a bit of a lightweight style. I absolutely adore the lightweight E-Types. This is a 4.2 and being 67, would it have been a Series 2 E-Type or a Series 1? Let me know in the comments. Got the quick release filler cap on the back there, no boot for you, just a massive fuel tank in there. 265 brake horsepower. What a beautiful car. It's American originally, so left-hand drive and still is. That is just absolutely stunning, isn't it? Love the look of that, and that would drive so nicely. Actually, a little correction, I think at 67 it'd be a Series 1.5 or something, but as you can see it's so modified with that light body. That is really nice. It's also had a 5-speed gearbox swapped into it. What a sort of beautifully shapely body that is. Love that.
You'll remember we saw this one popped up. Morris Marina.
Looks like the magnet's off. Squeezing between the Triumph motorcycle and some chairs. Sounding very nice. The B Series Burble. Nice car that. We're back now, the standard served us well. And first of all, let's have a little look at some of the changes that have been going on in here. The main one being this fantastic old Silkerline tin. It appeared in my Capestone video where I bought it. But since then, I've oiled it up. I've kept the front the same just in case of the decal's starting to lift. I put that there, shunted a few things along. I've also put my Red X valve lubricant upper thing there now, and then I put that old French tin there. So I sort of shunted things along there. then I actually bought something off Dad, which doesn't happen very often. But I bought that for the grand sum of £10. Hopefully you can see it, the 30 Club old badge. Looks nice next to my AA one. I think that's a lovely old thing, probably pre-war. If anyone knows what it's off, then let me know in the comments. Another little changes, I've hung up some hammers here, which is actually useful because I do use these. So if I just take this very nice old panel beating hammer off, just put in a couple of little tacks, and each hammer hangs off there, which I think is actually quite a good sort of display and good way of storing them. So I've got those 4 there, and another one someone else, and I cleaned that one up as well. I'm happy with that, and I really like that. But let's have a little look at these latest buys, which are some fantastic old oil cans, not the bagel wrapper. Some guy with an old caravan sold us these. Dad bought us one as well. So here's the first oil can. I think that's a lovely old thing, really good shape, no maker on it, but I just really like the shape of that. It's kind of awkward to show you, but there you go, nice old oiler. I just bought that because I love the shape, nice patina. I think somebody's already oiled it up already. Good thing is you never see a rusty oil can. So that doesn't need anything doing to it. And somewhere in here, there's another little one which he threw in. These two were £10 for the two. And Dad got a little K's one. I think that's a really cute little thing. So these will have to go in Ned the shed somewhere, perhaps somewhere around here where I've got all my other old oilers. Got a couple of Brame ones there, a K's one, and then an unmarked one which I also bought for the nice shape, and an interesting little, perhaps like a sewing machine one, that one. So I'm going to have to find somewhere to put these two lovely old little oil cans. I'm sure Dad's having the same problem. Perhaps somewhere around there, I don't know yet. I really like this display actually. I've got some of the later oil cans up there. Those are the sort of larger ones. And one of these, I think that one actually does have oil in it, so I actually do use that. And then I've got tins and oil pourers. What I might end up doing is just shunt these up a little bit. They are lovely things, aren't they? I've actually got a large railway one that came from Grandad here. We mustn't tip that one upside down because it's got a lot of oil in it and it's got no top. Unfortunately, the top fell in, so we have to be very careful with that one because I did slightly cover myself once in the oil from that. So I think if we put this lovely old one around about... That's not quite going to fit, is it? There's nowhere to put things in here. When you sort of need to put something down temporarily, there's hardly anywhere to sort of squeeze anything in. I think that's pretty decent there. And we'll just have that little one in front, I think, for now. That should be alright. I might change it later on, but I think with that, that's the end of this video. If you liked it, please do let me know in the comments. Remember to check out stuff from Ned the Shed and other Classic Car Show videos on the channel homepage of Car Traction. And remember to subscribe to keep up to date with more videos. But for now, that's all. Bye.